So this morning we are at the northern edge of Chandni Chowk or Old Delhi or Shahjahanabad. The reason we are at the edge is because we've mostly explored all of Chandni Chowk in the many videos that you may have seen in the past many weeks. So this video is now therefore going to be mostly at the edge or just outside Old Delhi, and the complex that we are in, again, it's just at the northern edge of Chandni Chowk, and it's pretty in a weird kind of way because this looks like a place where people used to live, and I would imagine at one point this was a thriving place with a lot of activity. But of course now you can see it's all quiet this weekend morning. Do you notice those tire tubes hanging from the tree? I think that's kind of the universal indicator of a tire repair shop or a puncture repair shop, because it's easy to see from a distance, right? Anyway, so yeah, this building is an interesting abandoned building right on the northern edge of Chandni Chowk. So someone told me that these were actually railway quarters, which means this is where people who were working with the railways lived. But of course, I think it's a structural weakness probably over time that means that now people don't live here anymore. It was evacuated, maybe evacuation is not the right word, but yeah, people were asked to move out and therefore nobody lives here anymore. If I were to take a guess, I think these buildings might be like close to 100 years old, I would say, because they do look old and they do have that sense of slight history in them. So yeah, this was interesting to find just north of Chandni Chowk. Alright, so we'll keep walking now along this road, and I'm not sure if you noticed, but on the left is the train from the Old Delhi railway station, and on the right is all of Old Delhi, all of Chandni Chowk. But yeah, let's keep walking east because that's east, and we'll see what else we find here. Maybe our river, Yamuna. So we've been walking on the same road in the direction of river Yamuna, in the direction of the rising sun, walking east on the road that is at the edge of Old Delhi in the north. And look at what we found. We've found an absolute gem, this very calm and very beautiful place, which is called St. Mary's Catholic Church. And it's just amazing that you can find such a place so close to Old Delhi, which is otherwise very noisy and chaotic. Of course, there's history, but then it's also very noisy and there's chaos. And to be able to find this calming and beautiful church so close to it is just so rewarding. I think this church itself has made my weekend walk worth it. Probably you're liking it as well, a little bit at least. And this really takes me back in multiple ways. Of course, there's the history of it, but there's also this personal connection that I have because I studied in a convent school where, of course, there was a church within the school, and you would get to learn the ways of Christianity, of course, in a very gentle and peaceful manner. So yeah, to be able to come back to a place like this, it really just takes me back to my school days. And I just love how this compound is so like almost fulfilling. If you come here in the morning, you would feel fulfilled and you would feel peace internally. This church is also actually the local or the adjacent church for a school which is called the Presentation Convent School. So of course another convent school similar to mine. Wow, look at that, you get that full view of the church. It's just amazing. And of course the history of the place is massive as well. In fact, this complex where we see this church was actually first used for a church almost 300 years ago. It was in the early 1700s. But of course there were things that happened because of which it got destroyed. There was Nadir Shah who destroyed this. I think it was also affected in the mutiny of 1857. Wow, look at that. You even see banana trees here, which tells how calming and how peaceful the vibes of this place are. And there in the distance you see the school as well. So yeah, I am glad that you've been walking with me, and I'm glad that we've together been able to explore this beautiful church which is called St. Mary's Catholic Church, just adjacent to Old Delhi and just adjacent to the Presentation Convent. So as I was mentioning earlier, this is one of the oldest church, or I should say it is the oldest church in Delhi. Of course you can read through that, you can pause as well if you want, because this is interesting history. The first church was built in this complex 300 years ago, but the one that you see today was built around 150 years ago in 1865. So now we are really close to our river Yamuna, that unfortunately people in Delhi don't really care about. We will try to go to the river, but before that we'll try and find another interesting place. It's actually an old fort that not many people know about. So I mentioned an old fort, not the old fort. So this fort is actually the Salimgarh Fort, which was built before the Red Fort, but not many people get to explore this area somehow. So it's interesting to note that Salimgarh Fort was actually built 100 years before even the Red Fort. In fact, this was not built by the Mughals. The Salimgarh Fort was built by Salim Shah Suri, who was the son of Sher Shah Suri. Sher Shah Suri had defeated the Mughals and had established his rule for some time in Delhi, and that was when the Salimgarh Fort was built as well, right on the banks of the river Yamuna. In fact, when we were walking, we were all the way walking east towards Yamuna, and that's how we reached here. This is our river Yamuna. Unfortunately, Delhiites just don't talk about this river anymore, and there's valid reason for it, I would say, because the river is very polluted, it's dirty, there's not really any social activity that you could do by the river because of those reasons. But yeah, I think, and I know in fact, that River Yamuna has always been a very crucial part of Delhi, historically also, and even today it serves practical functions. So yeah, it's good to be here.
हाँ हाँ
मेरे माँ बाप भी है।
हाँ हाँ।
अगर देख भाई, घर जाना चाहता हूँ बस, यहाँ पे
नेपाल जाना चाहते हो?
नेपाल जाना चाहता हूँ। देख जिस भूमि का वो जाऊँ, देख मेरे साथ वाले बहुत मर गए हैं यहाँ पे।
हाँ हाँ।
मैं मरूंगा तो नेपाल ही जाके मरूंगा भाई, यहाँ नहीं मरूंगा।
आप कब आए थे यहाँ पे? कितने साल हो गए?
मेरे झूठ नहीं बोला भाई साहब, मैं यानी 12-13 साल हो गया।
अच्छा।
मैं खाली देख ये मंदिर, नील छतरी मंदिर, जमुना बाजार नील छतरी मंदिर, निबंध घाट इधर पड़ता है।
हाँ हाँ हाँ।
नील छतरी मैं सेवा करता हूँ। मैं खाली
नीली छतरी मंदिर में?
मतलब अब तुम्हारे झूठ क्यों, दारू पीता हूँ क्योंकि यहाँ मरने से कोई फायदा नहीं है।
हाँ हाँ।
पीता तो जरूर हूँ, मतलब
तो आप
अब गांव जाना चाहता हूँ बस ये।
नेपाल में ना, तो गांव जाने में अभी दिक्कत क्या है आपको? मतलब वैसे तो बस लेके या कुछ लेके आप धीरे धीरे पहुंच सकते हो, अभी जाना क्यों नहीं चाह रहे?
बात ऐसा, कोई पहुंचा देगा, आईडी मांग रहा है, आईडी।
हाँ हाँ हाँ।
आईडी, अब आईडी है ही नहीं तो कहाँ से जाऊँगा।
चलो कोशिश करते रहो, ऐसे ही होता है धीरे धीरे। अनिल नाम बताया ना आपने? ठीक।
So we have the Salimgarh Fort to our right. Just behind us is the river Yamuna, and of course, as you noticed earlier, we were walking just to the north of Chandni Chowk along that road, but we were walking east, which means towards the river Yamuna, until we reached this fort, which is the Salimgarh Fort, and we reached the river Yamuna. At the river, we found this person who actually insisted that we capture his tale on camera and share it with our viewers. Little does he know that we have very few viewers, at least as of now. But yeah, I think this is kind of what we wanted to do today. Thanks for watching till here, and yeah, I'll catch you again exploring another area close to Old Delhi. Till then, bye bye.